John chapter 10, verses 1 through 10. The good shepherd and his sheep. Very truly, I tell you, Pharisees, anyone who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all but his own, he goes on ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know him, his voice. They will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize the stranger's voice. Jesus used this figure of speech, but the Pharisees did not understand what he was telling them. Therefore, Jesus said again, very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep, and all who have come before me are thieves and robbers. The sheep have not listened to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. The word of the Lord, the word of Christ for the people.
Thanks be to God. Thank you, Mike. So we are currently in the season Eastertide, a 50-day period, spanning from Easter Sunday to Pentecost Sunday. In fact, today is Good Shepherd Sunday. Now, my wife has a voice I recognize, right? I recognize my wife's voice. But I'll be completely honest, there for a while, I couldn't always tell her voice from her sister's voice, Pam. And I will tell you that more than once, I was on the phone talking to my wife when I realized I wasn't talking to my wife. Now, I never said anything you shouldn't say to your sister-in-law. Understand that. And I think I can differentiate pretty good now. She has challenged me, and I'm a little worried. Laura said she doesn't think I would, but I don't know. I'm just waiting for the next time I get a phone call and have to guess whether or not it's her or sister. But the point is, there are people that have distinctive voices, right? Voices that we recognize. Voices that we can say, I know who that is. I'm going to see how well you all do. So I'm going to have some celebrity voices play. If you can guess who it is, don't say it out loud. Just raise your hand if you can guess the voice. So Matt, let's do the first one. Yeah, okay. This was the first Joker I saw on the big screen. Who was it? Jack Nicholson, right? Now, of course, this is from The Shining, a little bit of a different movie, but we know Jack Nicholson. He has a very distinct voice. Matt, let's do the next one. Okay. It may help you if he had said something like, "No, I am your father," right? James Earl Jones. Yeah, that was from The Lion King. Again, different movie, for sure. Let's do the next one. That one's a little tougher because you're used to this particular person singing. That is Elvis Presley. Very good, Cindy. Impressive. Yeah, again, that one, you're used to them singing, right? You don't really recognize Elvis's voice, right? Okay, this last one's tough. I actually be surprised if anybody gets this last one, to be perfectly honest. But Matt, go ahead and kick it in. Anybody? Okay. This person you're used to singing, but not with his real voice, but rather with his professional voice. Yeah. So his professional voice is much higher, right? We all, if I were to play Beat It or Thriller or something like that, you would recognize his voice pretty quickly. That is his actual real voice. It's the intro to one of his songs. In fact, he was asked numerous times, who sang the intro? And he said, well, I did, and nobody believed him. It's like, no, that's actually my real voice. So it's interesting for us to say, oh, well, I totally know somebody by their voice, but did we? It makes a difference. Now, the reason I bring this up is that, again, we know people by their voice. And a sheep are the same way. The sheep knows the shepherd's voice. And as Scripture says, sheep will actually flee from a stranger and ignore the stranger's voice. And I looked this up, and it's actually true. The sheep will run away from the stranger, and they will seek the shepherd, the one that they trust. And it's not just about the shepherd who provides food for them, right? Because we know dogs and cats are our own pets. It seems like they like us, but it's only because we provide food. But sheep are more, I mean, obviously they care about the food too, but it's about the care that the shepherd provides. The shepherd shows the sheep that they will care for them. The bonding process is long, and it doesn't happen all at once. Right? It's a process. It has to go through many, many days, weeks, months, and even years. And Jesus is our shepherd who cares for us and provides everything we need. But let's be honest, we are like sheep. Has anybody ever worked with sheep or have a background? Yeah. Sheep are stupid, aren't they? I mean, let's be honest, sheep are stupid. They're really not that bright. I've seen some videos. Has anybody watched any videos? I thought about showing one, but I thought I would lose control of y'all if I did. Where these sheep would get pulled out of a hole, and they get released, and boom, right back in the hole. And it's not like it was once. There are some sheep that have happened to multiple times in the same video. Sheep are stupid. And I'm not saying that we're stupid, but sometimes we are. I will attest to that. But sometimes we're a little slow on the uptake, right? We're a little stubborn. We want to go our own way. And we have issues in this world about listening. We're so distracted by other voices that aren't Jesus. Or maybe we listen to the wrong voice as well. The world is noisy right now, isn't it? Have you ever tried to sit in silence and it's impossible because there's always so much noise? Yeah, right? I mean, you got a different household, though, than some of us. There's constant noise. But it's a joyful noise. And time. But there's so little silence in our world. And it gives us all sorts of other things to listen to that aren't Jesus. Right? We have the voice of greed. We have the voice of power and the voice of oppression. We have all these things that we can listen to rather than the one true voice of Jesus Christ. The other problem is that there's those out there that are trying their best to do an impersonation of Jesus' voice, isn't there? Right? We just get so confused, and we want to listen to Jesus, but we're confused by who's speaking. And when it comes to impressions, there's some people that are really good at that. We have voices telling us that to be a good follower of Christ, we have certain things we have to do. We have to make sure that we hate and vilify those other people or put ourselves first. I mean, we've heard churches, pastors say things like that, right? You want to be a good Christian, here's the list of people you have to hate. And we have churches that say, All are welcome, except for if you're an immigrant, if you're part of the queer community, if you're an addict, you need to find someplace else. Or, sadly, if you aren't white, you need to go someplace else. And that's really sad because they're like, oh yeah, everybody's welcome. Well, asterisk except for. And that's really sad. Because, not just sad because of what they're saying, but sad because what they are portraying is that all Christians feel that way. And we don't. We really don't. And yet, that's exactly what some people hear. So we need to not only listen to the right voice, but also be critical of what the voice is saying. If the voice seems to sound like Jesus, but goes against the greatest commandment we've ever been given, John 13:34, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. If it goes against that, it's a lie. It's wrong. That is not the voice to listen to. So how do we make sure? It's tough because you have all these voices coming at you, right? It's a struggle sometimes. And, gosh, that kind of sounds like maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know. Laura and I will be married 30 years in November. Okay? There is still, like I said, it took me a little while to recognize her voice. You know how I got better at it? Spending time with her. Being connected to her. Having this relationship. And that's exactly what we need to do with Jesus. If we want to truly hear Jesus' voice, we have to draw closer to Jesus and become more intimate in that relationship, and doubt about who is speaking will be removed. And just as a sheep knows their shepherd, we will know our Savior. It's a bonding process. And yes, it requires time. It requires commitment. Not on Jesus' part, because He's always committed to us. It's on our end. Right? It's our fault if that connection gets dropped. I've shared this one before, but I love this. There was a couple that had been married for years. And they had one of those old trucks with the seat going all the way across. Bench seats. You know what I'm talking about? And husband drove. The wife sat in the passenger seat. She said, why do you never put your arm around me anymore like you used to? He put his arm on the back of the seat. She wasn't anywhere near it. He said, the steering wheel never moved. Right? Whose fault was it that he didn't put his arm around her anymore? The steering wheel never moved. Jesus never moves. It's us that decide to slide over, slide over, slide over. And we really have to consider it. Are we committed? Are we choosing to connect? I mentioned before some spiritual formation ideas. Prayer and meditation and service and fasting and study and silence and journaling and worship. And those are all options, and that's not it. But if you're seeking to draw closer to Jesus Christ, might I suggest one of these? And if you're like, I have no idea how to even start or what would work best for me, I get it. Come talk to me. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Because I have tried all of these. Some work for me, some don't. And just because you want to draw closer to God and one of these doesn't work for you, that's fine. There's other options. There's other ways of connecting. But number one is choosing to commit. And by knowing Jesus' voice, we will hear where He asks us to go and what He asks us to do. And we will no longer doubt if it's the right voice. So I want us to think about that idea. My challenge for you for this week, commit to getting to know Jesus' voice better through spiritual practice. Now, this is the challenge for the week. But remember I said it takes a while. It's not just going to take you a week to get perfect with Jesus. It ain't going to happen. All right? Anybody who says they have gotten perfect with Jesus, we need to talk, because nobody's perfect with Jesus. We got work to do, but we get better at it. So let's bow.